no idea, have no idea of the struggle that went on. And this was back, in the late 50s, early 60s, when the Cuban Revolution came around. These kids don't have any idea about it, so they think it's perfectly okay because this gives them a place they can go up there, hot and trot and rot and smoke pot and, do whatever they want to. And they're not realizing that this is a communist country that we are aligning with, because Obama has no limits to whom he aligns with. He has no scruples. And our own legislators have no scruples. Look at all of the Democrats that are going down there associating with them. That bothered me. That headline, that the support for Obama's Cuban policy was rising. That's extremely frightening to me. That we have lost all touch with what it's like for this nation.
Well, yeah. What can you say to that? It's all true.
Those that know history are doomed to repeat it.
Right.
Our children are not learning history. But Mona, it's not just their education in school that parents are neglecting. It's their moral education.
Oh yeah.
When you look at some of these polls about what people think are acceptable or not, and they do an age breakdown, it is the younger people and the growing up today that they think everything's okay.
Right. Anything goes.
Yeah, you want to do this? Hey, yeah, that's fine. Go for it. They think everything is okay.
That's what really disturbs me. Sometimes being an older person, sometimes I get very tired and frustrated because I feel like there's so many of us out here who are really fighting back, saying, wake up, wake up, wake up. And yet these young kids would rather go down to Panama City and shoot 7 of them and get drunk and have all kinds of sex things on the beach down there and then put it on Facebook, rather than really looking at what is happening, because their immorality and their behavior is such that they're accepting things that are going to ultimately end in their own destruction.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, it is really very frightening. Sometimes every now and then you see a young person who comes out and really argues out for freedom and what is right and has moral principles and everything because their families have taught them well. But these other kids, they don't care. They just don't care, and that's our future.
Oh, it is. I read, I saw it on television. This church group, I don't know even what church it was or anything, and they were interviewing a teenager. It was a high school. Someone that was seniors in a high school. And instead of going down there in Fort Lauderdale and doing the things that they're doing, they all got together and they went to Habitat for Humanity and helped build a home for someone that needed it. And we need more of that. And there are a lot of good Christian kids and Jewish kids that are good. They got good morals. We just need more of them. And but we don't see that because it's not sensational on television. We see the bad stuff. We don't see any of the good. And that's why I quit listening to local news. It's just a police report. Everything is, who killed who had a bad accident, who beat their wife. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So I don't even listen to the local news, and particularly since I can get, the weather on internet. So there are some good kids out there, but we just don't have enough of them. And like you say, Mona, it's just terrible that what goes on, and anything goes. You're right.
Mary?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, the headline for today that I saw that intrigued me was the Russian strategist calls for a nuclear attack upon Yellowstone National Park. And the reason he says is because our own scientists, geologists, believe that Yellowstone supervolcano could explode at any moment. And so there's lots of growing activity there. And his idea is to put a nuke in there along the San Andreas fault line, which would make the United States disappear. Now, where's that old, we love Russia, look how Putin's doing. When did we, yes, he makes our current administration look really weak, but we need to remember they've never really been our friends.
No.
Yep.
No, and they're aligning with China now. China's gone over, for talks with Russia now. I mean, you've got two major powers now that are coming down while America is getting at its weakest point.
Yep.
Yes.
I saw an article that Russia threatened to help Mexico retake the southwest U.S. states if Obama sends weapons to the Ukraine, which Congress voted to do.
Well, I wouldn't be real excited about that since I am in the Southwest.
No, I know. It's
La Raza Unida already wants to take over all of the land that's here because they say that it belongs to Mexico. And La Raza Unida is real fond of anybody who has a Hispanic last name. They'll throw money in the pot. But what they don't realize is that we're so far from that now that anybody down here can have a Mexican last name, but they're not Mexican. And so that really doesn't work in their favor anymore, but they don't know that.
No,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when this report came out, I was like, Yellowstone and San Andreas Fault, they don't exactly cross each other.
Yeah.
So as I was reading further on, I'm going to explain, and this is a statistic for you. The last time a supervolcano exploded in Siberia, 85% of all land species and 95% of all ocean dwellers were completely wiped out. And in 2013, it revealed that the magma below Yellowstone was 2.5 times larger than they thought. So this isn't just some little funny thing. They're thinking. And that's why when they mentioned the San Andreas Fault, it was his idea of a second place. So they're just, people are looking at this and, we have to take some of these things serious and shut our borders. Whether they're Russian, Middle Americans that bring in all their relatives, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anchor babies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We need to go back to our immigration laws that have been in effect that we have ignored for years. And there used to be a certain ratio of people coming from certain countries that were allowed in without problem. Now that the gate is just swung open and God only knows what's coming in.
Well, it's not just the gate swung open, the whole fence is down.
Oh, yeah. And see some kook come in, read this, and say, hey, that's not a bad idea. And we're not watching inside our country as well as the borders.
Right.
Well, I tell you, Marcia, you better watch out because now that the Browns cut out all the water and there's no water for crops out there in California, all those farm workers are headed your way.
Oh, listen, we're inundated already as it is. And as I've told you before, we have a German Air Force here. We have Hispanics all over the place, and the town's full of Chinese. So we don't have any steakhouses in the Southwest in my town, but we do have 11 Chinese restaurants. Go figure. Go figure. Hey, Roland, have you got a headline you wanted to bring up?
It's already been brought up, but I'd like for our group to discuss it further. And Reid, the president of the Senate, is a devil. He's a liar. Honestly, all the things that he did in the Senate. I'm so glad he's out. I'm sorry he got hit in the... No, I'm not really.
Don't lie.
But I saw his interview that we discussed earlier on, and he was asked if he was sorry that he lied about Romney. And he didn't have an answer right away, and then finally his answer was, as Teresa said, well, Obama won. So what that means is he and many of his fellow Democrats don't care what it takes, lies, cheating, whatever, to win the elections. Mm-hmm. And we've got to realize that. And there was over 300 bills passed by the House while he was in office that he didn't even give to the Senate for a vote. I know we've talked about this before, but there may be some listeners that didn't know that. And it's just pathetic. How can a government function when everything is political? It's not for our country. It's for their whatever, if they're Republican or Democrat. So the other thing is, of course, he just fits right into Mrs. Clinton and her lies and the way she's lied ever since. The first lie I can remember is when a bunch of papers went missing when she was the first lady, and they couldn't find them, and Congress wanted them, and they showed up. Guess where? On her banister.
Yeah.
With her fingerprints on them.
Well, of course. That's her
Remember
history.
that guy that stuffed his coat with them, with the documents, and walked out, and they never did anything to him? What was that guy's name? He stuffed his jacket full of all the documents and walked out with them.
Yeah, I remember that. And then we got Obama lying every other word out of his mouth is a lie. It's just, and we need just to focus on, well, what can we do about it individually? And what we can do about it individually is at grassroots and talking to people. And I don't miss a chance that I can. I haven't been hit yet. And just start talking about, our country's in bad shape. What are we going to do about it? Well, one thing, we got to get votes out there and vote for people. And there are some good people out there. We got a little gal that's on one of our radio programs. Her name is Glow. And you just talk to her, you can tell how she's a good woman. She's got good morals. She's raising a good family. Her daughter just graduated and passed the bar examination. And, we've got plenty of good people out there, but we just got to get them in the office and in power to make the right decisions for us. But, George Bush Sr., he said made one statement during his campaign to become president. Read my lips. And that was enough to get him defeated. Because he had to raise the taxes, or he thought he did. I'm not defending him, but I'm saying that they can just do anything, and the news media will not publicize it. And the only way we're going to get it out there is through internet and programs like this to get the information out there, get people thinking, well, what can I do as an individual? And it'll only take, 10 or 15 minutes a day on an average to really be a help. And that was the headline. I'd like for each of you to sort of discuss that, the ethics and the lies that Obama, Reid, and Clinton have, and there's others, just because to me that's an important headline. And
Well, it is, but we
has-
don't have time for that discussion in this half hour. We have 2 minutes left in this section, so we can pick that up after our constitutional moment and our music and our information on the flip side of the new hour. We'll pick that up there.
or we can do it next week.
Well, we can do it when we come back, because we don't have to do anything. We can do what we want.
That's right. We have a mouth and we can run it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Okay, so let me just tell you real quickly what mine is, because mine won't take but a second. My headline this week was Ferguson protesters who were gassed get $7,500 each.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And most of them were bussed in.
Right, they were bust-in protesters.
Guess
and
they got their
paid in the first
travel
place.
expense.
Yeah, they were paid.
Yeah.
They